The fact that people don't see me going out on a date with my husband sparks rumors of the end of our marriage. We are 60. You just are not gonna know what we're doing every minute of the day. I don't know if my ambition has ever fully been able to actualize itself.
What's a piece of advice you were smart to ignore?
You're not Princeton material.
Are you serious?
I'm so serious.
I'm Rachel Martin, and this is Wild Card, the game where cards control the conversation. My guest this week is former First Lady Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama has lived a lot of her adult life under immense scrutiny, which meant carefully thinking through every word she uttered in public. But she is in a place in her life now where she gets to integrate her public and private self a little more. And for listeners to her new podcast, eager to hear what she has learned in this life, it is a real gift. The podcast is called IMO with Michelle Obama and Craig Robinson, her brother. And I am so very happy to welcome Michelle Obama to Wild Card.
Thank you,
Rachel.
I'm at Wild Card.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
1, 2, or 3?
Let's do 2.
2. Where would you go when you wanted to feel safe as a kid?
Oh, that's an easy one. Safety was our little house on 7436 South Euclid. I mean, the whole house. Home was safety for me because I had 2 amazing parents, Marion and Fraser Robinson.
Yeah.
And there was a lot to find safety from growing up as a working class kid on the south side of Chicago. You know, our neighborhood wasn't dangerous,
right.
But things happened,
sure.
Right? Fights happened, trouble happened. School wasn't always a safe space because sometimes your teachers didn't believe in you or challenged you or second-guessed you. You know, so when life happened like that, when people doubted you or questioned your ability, I could always come back home. You know, when I wrote In the Light, I have a chapter about my mom and her parenting principles, and one of them was, come home, we'll love you here. You know, that philosophy was like, you can't count on other people to love you, because as a Black kid, a lot of people won't, just because of the color of your skin. So you cannot base your whole being on what other people think of you, especially as a Black kid.
Yeah.
So,
how long did it take you to realize that that is special? For home to be that secure for you, that's a special thing.
Yeah, I think I got it pretty early on. And I think our parents, they made it a point to make sure we were aware of that.
Okay.
They were giving us what a lot of kids who were just as smart, just as capable, just as able in our communities and our families weren't getting, just because of the roll of the dice, right? So my mom would always say, I love you, you're special, but you're not singular. So I think because of that, we knew. I had a mother who was an advocate when a teacher didn't do what they needed to do by me. But she also knew that she had to be the advocate for other kids there. Right. She was like a room parent before there was a room parent, you know.
She was going to mother all the people.
She was going to mother all the people. So I think I knew that early on.
Okay. 3 new ones, 1, 2, or 3?
Let's do 1.
1. What's a piece of advice you were smart to ignore?
Oh, my gosh. You're not Princeton material.
Who gave you that one?
My college counselor.
Are you serious?
I'm so serious. I was a senior at Whitney Young Magnet High School. And, you know, it's a big school, magnet program. I was a great student. I was an honor student. I was the treasurer of the senior class. You know, I thought I was doing pretty well. Right?
Sound like Princeton-y things.
But when I sat down with her, the woman who was supposed to encourage me, she told me, I don't think you're Princeton material.
So what was your in the moment?
I was furious. I was furious. But I was familiar with that that bar lowering.
Yeah.
Right. Because it happens to minority kids, poor kids, kids of color all the time. People make snap judgments based on their biases and their limitations. They don't ask questions. And it helped me because throughout my life, when I would hit those roadblock or meet those people, I was lucky enough to be the child with the temperament that it didn't wound me, it angered me, and it made me think, I'll show you.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't think I can do this? I'll show you. And I think I just walked away from that woman. I never talked to her again.
Yeah. Do you remember getting, it was probably an envelope in the mail, right? When I got envelopes in the mail.
Yes,
you got your acceptance letter. It wasn't an email.
It wasn't an email. It wasn't a click on.
Right.
No, it was one of the proudest moments, and again, I didn't have a lot of support. My parents loved me, but once we started doing things like applying to Ivy League schools, we were kind of out of their league, right?
Yeah.
My mom could read over my essay, but everything I did felt amazing to her. I don't know if she or my dad felt like, well, you could change this segment, or they weren't editing us; they were encouraging us.
Looks good. Go for it.
Great, yeah. So it's like, okay, the safe house I'm in, they're like, go forward. Yeah. You are fabulous, right? Yeah. So I was relieved to prove the doubters wrong.
Right. It wasn't just your parents who knew.
It wasn't. Yeah. Somebody else sees this out here.
Sometimes we need external validation.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your podcast.
Oh, yeah, that little project.
Yes. Okay, it's called IMO with Michelle Obama and Craig Robinson, your brother.
Is.
IMO obviously stands for In My Opinion. Is this you owning your voice in any way?
I think people who have known me and see me have felt like, she owns her voice. She speaks out. Yeah. She says, but yes, this is the period in my life when, the stakes are not so high.
Yeah.
10 years in the public eye, 8 years in the White House, where every word, every utterance, every heel on my shoe, every blink of my eye, every fist bump was analyzed, dissected, and broadcast, celebrated in some instances, and ridiculed or disparaged in others. So even when you're an honest, authentic person, you're watchful and mindful because you don't want to be the one that creates problems for the president of the United States, who happens to be your husband. We also knew that we were on a razor-thin wire of ability to make mistakes as the first. Right. So we carried that, as I described in Becoming. It's like having a tray of all the hopes and expectations of your ancestors and everyone that came before you and will come after you, and you are balancing that on a tightrope, knowing that if you spill a drop, that could mean curtains for anybody else to follow.
Is it a hard habit to kick, though? Like, you know what I mean? Like, podcast, the mic is open, you're talking to people, you want to be loose, you want to be free.
Well, and I know my team is here. It's a hard habit for my team to kick.
Yeah.
Right? And I say that with all the love.
They're looking out for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to move from First Lady world into other worlds, the same cautiousness and habits, because we all have a little PTSD, because it wasn't just me carrying that tray. It was every staff member, every communications director, every chief of staff. We all felt responsible for the legacy of Barack Obama, for what that administration meant, right? So everybody was always on alert, so it takes a second when you start thinking, well, can you go here? Can you say this? Can you touch this third rail? Knowing that even in this phase in our lives, when Barack and I say something right or wrong, it does get covered. The fact that people don't see me going out on a date with my husband sparks rumors of the end of our marriage. It's sort of, so we still, so
like
that
the
is
apocalypse.
It's the apocalypse. It's like, okay, so we don't Instagram every minute of our lives. We are 60. You just are not going to know what we're doing every minute of the day, And yes, I guess we're famous, but we're 60.
You are. We're real famous 60-year-olds.
We don't take selfies. I just, Barack was joking. He's like, you don't even take pictures of anything we do. I was like, I'm not thinking about a picture.
I know, right? You're trying to be in the moment. I'm really bad at taking pictures.
That's right. So anyway, I think them breaking the habit is as much of an adjustment.
Yeah. So I don't have to tell you that you inhabit a special place in the culture. You do.
That's weird.
You just do. You're not.
It's weird.
You're more than like a role model. You're like, for many people, especially young women of color, you're like a North Star. And it doesn't matter if you don't know everything. People think you know everything. People think you've got the answers to all the stuff. So I guess my question is, this show, there's an advice component to this. So is this your way of kind of making peace with your place in the world and just saying, okay, let me tell you some stuff.
I got some stuff. I think it's a few things. IMO, it wasn't an accident that it's happening right after my mom passed. It's been a year, just a month ago since my mother passed. And we were starting to have these conversations a little bit, but I think once my mom passed and the notion of doing something with my brother, where we would be forced to see each other on a regular basis became a big motivator, right? To carry on just the tradition of family that you lose when you lose the last elder.
Yeah.
It's also that time in life where Craig and I looked at each other and we're like, well, we're it.
Yeah.
We are the elders in our family, right?
And so, my parents have passed too.
So there's just something psychological that happens to you when that baton, you literally, it's not passed, you're holding it. And
it's just you looking over the cliff.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And kind of realizing, well, let's step up because we have an opportunity to keep their memory and that wisdom alive, to own the fact that we now have that wisdom, and then to share it with others who may not have that same kind of support system.
Yep.
It's at a time when people are lonely, they're feeling even more isolated. So all of that kind of played a role in thinking, not only could this be a good idea, but it could also be fun, which is also where I am in life. If it's not fun for me, selfishly, then
life's too short.
Then let's not do it. But it's been all of that, and just being able to still have a platform to give voice to people, to let people know that we're still here, not in a different way. I am not going to be in politics. I'm not giving another political speech. I'm not campaigning for another candidate, but I'm here.
Did you ever think about not being here? I mean, not being here, but like going away, just living a super private life and curling up.
Yeah, and I get that more than I ever have gotten it ever before. So everything is relative, right? But I'm 60, but I'm still just 60. And I still feel like I can't stop yet.
Yeah.
I'm ready to slow down a bit, but not stop. And that time will come.
Yeah.
But it's probably too soon. So finding creative ways to stay engaged, that is still useful and is authentic to my nature, which is advice giving and talking. As you can see, I can talk, is, I think, a good balance to strike. And I think our listeners are having fun with it.
Yeah, I'm having fun with it. It's a great show. Okay, you ready for more games?
Yes, more questions.
3 new cards. 1, 2, or 3?
3.
3. How comfortable are you with change?
I thank you, Barack Obama. I married a man that got me real comfortable with change.
That was not the case when you came out?
We were a perfect square in my household. Mom, dad, brother, sister. Dad goes to work, has a shift job. Life was predictable. We lived stable. Barack used to call us the black cleavers, the Leave It to Beaver family, which was the total opposite of the life he grew up with being the son of a teen mother, not knowing his father, mother and anthropologist, living around the world, being, sometimes living without his mother, living with his so his introduction to my little working class life was like Xanadu. It's like, who are these people, right? So when my husband approached me about getting into politics, A was like, what? Well, we don't do that.
And we got it good right here in Chicago.
We had replicated our little universe. We had that stability, you know. Barack, we were both had great jobs. Barack could have done anything. Right. He could be a professor. He could be a appellate court judge. He could have been a Supreme Court clerk. He's like, no, none of that.
Got all these big dreams.
Got these big, crazy dreams. The biggest, craziest one was running for president, which was the biggest, massive change. Not just in terms of a career move, but if he won, we'd have to move from the safety and security of a community, a city that was our own. would uproot my kids in ways that I hadn't experienced. But yeah, I got used to change and practicing change and the muscle and getting over that scary feeling of, I don't know what this is going to be. Yeah. And how is it going to feel? And not realizing that that's going to go away, that feeling, just like on a roller coaster. You get over that hump and, you can enjoy the ride. And sometimes it's fun and scary, but if you get used to it, right? So I've practiced it. And now I'm accustomed to it. And I think anyone can become accustomed to change. Yeah. And being able to decipher between the fear that is keeps you safe and the fear that keeps you stuck.
Yeah. 3 more. 1, 2, 3.
2.
Has ambition ever led you astray?
Has ambition? That's a good question. Let me flip this one on you, just because.
Just because. I have sometimes lost my mooring. I have sometimes been attracted to the bright, shiny thing in a career.
Yeah.
That can promise more money, more notoriety, more attention.
Yeah.
And those places aren't home to me, actually. And it took a lot for me to recognize. I was able in the moment to recognize, I don't feel like me here.
Yeah.
I don't feel like me here. It's not all bad to indulge a little bit of ambition that may be leading you astray, as long as you find your way back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think that's my answer, is that yes, it has. And it has, and it's not all bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The thing I keep thinking is like, wow, I don't know if my ambition has ever fully been able to actualize itself because of the nature of what me and my husband have done. I mean, I guess you could argue as a team,
right?
It
wasn't about your individual ambition.
Was it right? It was the team ambition, and I went along arguably kicking and screaming, right? And I think I'm now at a stage in my life where all my choices are mine. All my, now I can say that whatever I'm doing from this point on is about my ambition. And that's fairly new, right? Yeah. Because as a working mother, I think all of that stuff, it kind of cut my ambitions short a little bit. Yeah. Because I had to make a set of decisions. Okay, my husband's over here. I've got these kids over here. I don't know if I can afford to be ambitious right now. Right. So I have to take a step back. Even though ambition is there, I can see where I could make more money. I could do that. Yeah. But, I got these little kids that I love. And I do want to go to the Halloween parade. That's and I want to, so I think I kind of squelched my ambition. But now is a time for me to embrace my own ambition and to define it for me. So maybe the answer is we'll see. Yeah. Because I think I'm just now fully stepping into my own ambition. Yeah. And right now I have not regretted it.
Part of ambition in living your own life is saying yes to things you want to do. It's also saying no, I imagine, to things that you don't want to do.
For sure.
Yeah.
And we experienced that. One of the major decisions I made this year to stay put and not attend funerals and inaugurations and all the things that I'm supposed to attend. That was a part of me, using my ambition to say, let me define what I want to do apart from what I'm supposed to do, what the world expects of me. And I have to own that. Those are my choices. Whatever the backlash was, I had to sit in it and own it.
Yeah.
But I didn't regret it.
Because it's your life.
It's my life now, and I can say that now. But we'll see. There maybe next year we sit down. I go, Rachel, went a little too far.
I'm gonna rein it back in. 1, 2, or 3?
1.
How often do you think about death?
I should flip this one just because we're almost done.
I'll let you flip. I'll give you 2 flips. Because my answer's so short all the time. I think about death all the time. I do, right? Death is life. Death is life. It's the flip side. It makes living feel precious and urgent and vivid.
Yeah.
And like I told you, my parents died. It feels. I made this show in part because I like to talk about how we live our life and how precious it all is and what does happen after we're gone.
Yeah.
I don't know the answers to any of these things, but they occupy my imagination. So I think about it. I think about it all the time.
I'm right there with you. I do. And not in a morbid way.
No, I read about this in your book and how your parents talked to you about dying.
That's right.
It was to make it a normal thing.
Well, and also, as we get older, look, and my husband thinks this is morbid, but at 61, if I am lucky, if I am truly blessed, I'm like 25 more summers.
Oh, yeah. I do that math all the time.
Yeah.
And I measure out how old my kids are against that.
Yeah. Because if you're not mindful about time, like 10 years, we've been out of office for 10 years.
Right.
What happened? What happened in those 10 years? It's like, I did a lot, right? 2, 3 books, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot that happened, but it went by fast. And I'm at the stage of life where I want the next 10 years to go by slowly. Because guess what? I love life. I love my life. I love life. But what I feel is that if I'm not mindful about it, the years slip away and you wind up spending a year doing what? Did you do anything you wanted to? Did you spend time with the people that you wanted to spend time with, doing the things that you wanted to do? And there's a time in life for all young people where you just don't have that luxury because you're grinding and growing and building. You haven't earned it yet, right? And you should be out there doing and shaking and baking. And but with 25 more summers, I want to feel each one of them.
I know.
I want to be like, this year, this was slow. It's like, I didn't do much of anything. Did I accomplish anything? I got bored, and I was like, I read another book. It took forever.
Do you think you're comfortable with real slowness, though? Like, do you think that's actually?
Yes.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Oh, yes, I am. And a day of nothing is one of those nice slow days where you look up and go, oh, man, it's only noon.
Yeah.
I want more of those because I want these last 25 summers to feel long and purposeful and mine, not because I've given that time away and I looked up and it's all gone. I've given it all away to everybody else and I don't even know what was left for me.
Right.
And so I think all of that is a part of thinking about death.
Totally.
And when it comes, look, I'm not afraid of it, but
you're not.
No, I'm not. But let me tell you one thing that was interesting to me, and I think you're the first person I share this with publicly, is like the last year of my mom's life, she was sick. Her body was just shutting down for a number of various reasons. And her last bout of illness, she was with me in Hawaii, in our home in Hawaii, which was a blessing, right? Because she was forced to let me take care of her.
She didn't want.
Oh my!
She didn't want to be a burden.
She didn't want to be a burden. And I had doctors and nurses and everybody coming in, and we had her diet and this, and I was bossing her around, and she was mad, and she was, I just want to go home. And it's like, but you can't. You're stuck with me. I could just take care of her. And she got better and went back to Chicago. But we were sitting on the couch watching one of her court shows, because she liked court shows. And she was realizing that, she will not ever be the same old self that she was. She was starting to realize she's coming to the end. And this woman that prepared me for death, right, and talked to me about all this stuff and was like, I'm ready to die. Who needs to be old people around too long? Blah, 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 blah. She leaned over to me and she said, wow, this went fast. And I held her hand. I said, what are you talking about? And she said, life. She said, this went fast. And this was the woman who was ready. And what that told me was that even when you tell yourself you're ready, if you're living a good life, you're never really ready for it to end, right? So I hope I feel that way, even though I will be ready for it, because it's been good and purposeful, that I'll feel like, I wish I had more time. Yeah. So I'm trying to live my life like that, Darn you, it's your stupid cards. Oh, God. All right, last one.
Yeah,
flip. I don't even care what it is. Just flip.
You already got two.
You pick it. Okay, you pick the last one.
You want me to?
Yeah, you
but
pick
these
it.
are all so good.
Okay, then you
answer
pick
all
it.
of them.
And okay, you and I won't flip.
Fine.
Okay.
Dealer's choice.
Okay.
What's your best defense against despair?
This is easy. It's being around kids, being around young people. That's why most of my initiatives in the White House involved young people. And I'd be having a bad day, and I'd talk to my team, and I'd be like, ugh, get me to some kids now, stat, So one of the things we used to do was to make these surprise visits to high schools in the area. And my goal was to get to every high school. But it was like, we're not going to make it a big deal. We don't want kids fighting over who's coming. We don't want to shut down the school and all this. So if it's an OTR and off the record, you could pretty much do that. But it's still the First Lady in the presidential motorcade. So we would always hook in the Secretary of Education, whether it was whoever it was at the time. We had a couple who would go in as sort of the ruse of, we're here to announce a policy, and the kids would be there. And then I'd come in. And they'd just be like, what? No media, no everything. And then we'd just talk, right? We talk about life. First, we'd have to get them to stop crying and stop screaming, and that took a while because we would try to do these things in an hour. And it's like, these kids aren't going to settle down. This is too much of a shock. So we need to make the time limitless, until they can calm down enough. Because, kids, once they calm down and see that you're real, and it's like, and I'm just like this, then they start asking real questions. But it takes a minute. Those would be some of my best days, of just get me to a school.
So what do you do now? Because there's a lot of
despair.
You're just like, give me to a kid.
Give me to a kid. Yeah.
What do you do?
It's sprinkled throughout my life still. When I did my book tours and we did book stops, we always went into the community. So every city I would go to, I would, stop by a school or with a leadership group of some sort or at a college or what have you. So we try to filter it in. But kids give me hope, and they remind me of the fact that we don't have the luxury of despair as adults, because when you despair, you stop acting. It sort of gives you the excuse to just give up and be in your despair.
Yep.
And we can't afford that, because when we aren't acting, doing our part, mentoring, voting, doing whatever we can, caring, not being complacent or apathetic or so disappointed that I just can't be bothered.
Yeah.
We are
Apathy.
wasting.
It's dangerous.
Apathy is dangerous, and it's dangerous for our kids because they can't act. They don't have a vote. They can't change anything. They live in the country we create for them.
But it also sounds like, in a very granular way, when you, Michelle Obama, wake up and it's feeling too much and something happens and despair sets in, your go-to is to act.
Yeah. And if it's with kids, or maybe it's just a workout, maybe it's moving, but sitting still for me is it is the opposite of combating despair, sitting in it, thinking too much about it.
Stewing in it.
Stewing in it. But moving and doing something, that's why it's like the key to depression for me, if it's not clinical, the first step is just get out of bed, get up and connect to people, right? We aren't built to do this life alone, and we need to be around each other to be reminded of who we are and why we exist. And we do not exist for ourselves because we can't survive on our own.
Right.
We are, as a human species, we're pretty weak. We don't do well in the sun. We don't have fur. Our teeth don't do anything. We have no claws. I mean,
camping's very difficult for me,
camping is
honestly.
difficult for most people. I love those nature shows. The Alaskan bush people. I'm like, you
good
are
time.
going to
Just
be
watch
good.
that with popcorn. You just
But
watch that
most
from your
of
living
us,
room.
we'd be dead in an hour. We need community. So being in the presence of other people, that helps me as well. What about you?
Oh, look at you, just flipping with abandon. Flipping with abandon.
That's less a flip because I answered it first. So this is just more
extra.
I'm curious.
It's the same. It's to reach out to people, and it's to get micro. So much of my despair when it happens is macro.
Yeah.
It's about the big stuff that I find hard to control. It's like, let me think about the things that are in my patch of the world.
Right.
Let me think about my next door neighbor and what's going down with her. Let me think about my kids and how I can make this meal special for them. Yeah. And I try to get hyper local about it. And it's too easy to get lost in the existential dread.
Yeah, I call it the power of small.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
We think so much about big change, everything's got to be big and huge. And most of us don't have the platform to make big things happen. Right. But I've seen how big power can't do a lot. The President of the United States, for reasons we're now learning, there's a limit to those powers, and they should be, because you can mess up a lot if your power goes unchecked. But if you think of the power of a good neighbor, the power of being a good parent to the kids you brought into this world, that's something each and every one of us can do. And if everybody did that, if everybody just exercised their full small power.
Oh, yeah, the butterfly effect, that just
it would be,
around.
So I agree.
We end the show the same way every time.
Okay.
You get to go back to one moment in your past. It is not a moment you want to change anything about, okay? This is just a moment that you want to linger in a little bit longer.
It's got to be on Euclid Avenue. One of the nights after dinner, when my dad's on a regular shift where he's home for dinner, and he agrees to play a game, because our parents were regular parents. Like, we're not playing with you.
Right.
It's like, so the decision to play with us after dinner,
big deal,
was huge, right? Whether it was a game of hands down or the way, or singing or a dancing game or any game. It's like he'd decide. And then to top it off, not only would my dad agree to play, but my mom would finish the dishes and come and play too. And the four of us would be sitting in we're sitting in the living room, just playing a game and laughing, and music is on. And it feels like everything is right and safe. Back in that safe place on 74th and Euclid.
That's a lovely one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Michelle Obama, her new podcast is called IMO with Michelle Obama and Craig
This is so emotional.
Robinson.
I'm exhausted.
I am too. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rachel.
If you like this episode, make sure to follow or subscribe to Wildcard for more interviews like this one.